It is a time of woe for those that suffer the curse of the living, for the two most powerful of the von Carstein bloodline have been resurrected. But for once, they are not at war with each other. Well, not yet, anyway. Vlad and Manfred have decided upon an alliance, but for how long that uneasy treaty will last is anyone's guess. Probably not very long. With Drakenhof retaken, Manfred retreats deep into the vaults to seek out lost lore, thus leaving Vlad to rekindle his reign of terror. Sylvania will be his, with the lands of mortals to swiftly follow.
I have not seen such a pathetic sight since mine father-in-law Otto took his last breath. Is this all that thine empire can muster? What a pitiful age this is. It makes me ponder for the era of worthy foes such as Wilhelm or that wolf knight Kruger. Not this pathetic squabble of mortal men. Yet my sword thirsts, and so it shall be slaked in the blood of living fools that think to challenge the might of von Carstein. Let the slaughter begin!
Vlad von Carstein was the first and greatest of the vampire counts of Sylvania. A master swordsman and skilled general with no small aptitude in the magical arts, it was he who tainted the aristocracy of Sylvania with the curse of vampirism, and in so doing, created an undead kingdom in the heart of the empire. His reference in the introduction of this legendary quest battle is to the conclusion of the First Vampire Wars, at the siege of Altdorf in the year 2051 of the Imperial calendar, some 500 years before the start of Total War Warhammer. It was there, at the gates of Altdorf, that Vlad issued his famous ultimatum: surrender and serve me in life, or die and slave for me in death. The Grand Theogenist Wilhelm III, High Priest of the Cult of Sigmar, had other plans that day, and threw himself and Vlad from the ramparts of the great city at the conclusion of their titanic conflict. With his famous Carstein ring stolen from him the night before by the legendary thief Felix Mann, which in turn was only made possible by the cunning and treachery of Manfred himself, Vlad was unable to reincarnate, and lay dead for centuries. Until now, Vlad has returned to lead the aristocracy of the night into a new age, one in which the Empire will bow to a von Carstein emperor. This quest battle is a test drive for Blooddrinker, Vlad's magical sword, a weapon of incredible power. When it draws blood, the life force of the victim is used to revitalize the blade's master. This is his first battle with the Empire since recovering the sword, and he is eager to let it taste crimson. The League of Ostermark, colloquially referred to as the Mark, is a province of the Empire that has stood on the precipice since its inception. Situated between Kislev to the north, Sylvania to the east, and Blackfire Pass to the south, it is a province that almost constantly burns. Sometimes to chaos marauding, sometimes to the greenskin hordes, but this time to Vlad and his legions of undead, striking west towards the heart of Sigmar's empire. The Mark army is a powerful one though, equipped with Hellstorm rocket batteries, ranks of halberdiers, and heavily armored knights who have hardened with constant border conflict. Vlad has his work cut out for him. This will be not an easy mark at all, and we'll see how the battle goes. As with any undead army, the fodder is first into the fray. Fell bats swoop from the skies while dire wolves and black knights circle the flanks, looking for openings. The bats are going to make for the artillery crews, silencing those guns while hungry undead canines prepare to slam into the flank of the unprotected Ostermark forces. The rest of the army is really far away from these flanking units up front. They take a long time to move into position. The undead are incredibly slow, as you would imagine, and zombies will take a while to close the gap and get into melee combat. Here come the direwolves, who are going to now slam into the flank of this Ostermark army, try to take out as many skirmishers and artillery crews as possible. It's just a delaying tactic to make sure that the Ostermark army can't continue firing into the more important troops, the Grave Guard, the Cryptors, that make up the elite of Vlad's forces. Zombies now shambling into view and into melee combat. They will tie down this front line of Empire Spearmen and Halberdiers, and they're not going to do very well, as zombies never do. They are the ultimate meat shields in Total War Warhammer. And they're going to get cut to pieces, but very slowly, giving time for those elite forces to close into melee. But while all this is going on, there's an ambush over on the other side of the battlefield that is getting ready to be sprung by the Ostermark forces. While Black Knights and Dire Wolves are shifting into view, a massive hammer and anvil coming in from the Black Knights, going to charge directly into the backs of these artillery crews, silencing the other Hellstorm rocket battery. Bats still swooping in, causing havoc. Fellbats are an amazing unit, incredibly cheap to field, and now the rest of the Vampire Count's army is starting to catch up, but in the back here, the Empire Knights have sprung their ambush. Cryptors moving in to respond, smacking them in the face with their massive spiked clubs, and Grave Guard stuck in to combat as well. But now Vlad von Carstein with Blood Drinker stuck in melee. He is going to be shredding these Empire Knights with that fantastic sword. They won't be able to hold for too long here. They are very battle-hardened warriors, but it's going to be a very tall order for them to deal with all of these elite troops. Now, there is no bonus for Slarge over on this side of the battlefield. In fact, the Vampire Count's army has almost no bonus for Slarge to begin with. So dealing with Empire Knights is not going to be the easiest thing for them. They have plenty of elite troops, but this battle will take a little bit longer than Vlad, I'm sure, would enjoy. Cutting through these heavily armored knights might take a little bit longer than he would like. Zombies, more of them coming in to reinforce. Skeletons have made it into combat as well. And these Empire Swordsmen should be able to fend off this first wave, but more hammer and anvils coming in from the Black Knights. Some really devastating charges in the back lines. And another artillery crew getting sent flying, completely butchered by those undead knights. And they're going to circle and attempt another rear charge here. See what they're going to go for. They're going to charge into the back of some Empire Spearmen and Halberdiers. Blood fountaining everywhere. Massive charge, but the anvil itself is not a very powerful one. Zombies not providing a fantastic anvil because they have no killing power. And that means those Halberdiers might survive that conflict. And the army is crumbling a little bit over on this side. Vlad von Carstein's army is certainly not enjoying stuff over on this side of the battlefield. Light Wizard in melee, casting and buffing his troops, trying to keep his men in the fight. And these zombies are going to quickly crumble and dissipate. And that will pretty much leave the elite forces to contend with what remains of the Empire army. Even more Hellstorm rocket batteries wheeling themselves into view now, and Cryptors do not take kindly to such machines. Those crewmen are going to turn into little itty-bitty giblets as these unholy mutations wade into combat. But Vlad is in a little bit of a predicament here. His army is completely split up. His fodder is crumbling against the main force of the Ostermark army, and they really need reinforcements. Without his presence, the magic holding them together is slipping away. So the Graveguard Whites and his vampire lady friend, Helene the Appeaser, will need to hasten to the front lines as soon as they're able to deal with those Empire Knights. Van Hell's Dance Macabre should help with that, increasing speed and melee attack. We'll see if Vlad can prevent his entire army from crumbling around him. And another huge charge coming in from the Black Knights, slamming into the back of those Empire Spearmen. But the anvils at this point have all but melted away. There's very few of them left. Zombies and skeletons almost completely crumbled at this point. And the cavalry, when they're stuck alone with all of those spearmen with bonus versus large, soon going to be losing their binding to the winds of Shaiish. More Empire Knights over on this side have survived. They're the remnants of the ones that were fighting Vlad. Very low HP at this point, fighting some Cryptors, but I believe those Cryptors are going to get isolated against all of the remnants over there. And now Vlad and Helene the Appeaser are finally making their way over. Light Wizard and the Empire Captain stuck in melee, but wisely deciding to pull away from those Cryptors and from Helene. They don't want to stick in melee for too long there, so they will run away. And Vlad, without mount options, will not be able to catch up and tie them down in melee combat. Empire Spearmen and Halberdiers now pushing forward to meet Vlad and his vampire lady friend. And he's going to now fight his first infantry of the game. And Blood Drinker is going to drink deeply indeed, dealing with his Empire Spearmen. Vlad is a beast in melee combat, a fantastic swordsman. And he's going to be able to cut through these Empire Swordsmen like a hot knife through butter. Spearmen, rather. Van Hell's Dance Macabre going off now to buff up some of those Grave Guard that are around him. And he's kind of stuck in melee, a bit isolated by himself, but it shouldn't be a problem. These are just Empire Spearmen. Those great swords or something like that, this could be seriously problematic, but again, Spearmen very cheap, low melee attack, won't be able to do too much to someone as powerful as Vlad. Graveguard overlapping the engagement now, tying up some more Empire Spearmen. And should be able to cut through them relatively easily with their bonus versus infantry. And they're just a much higher tier unit as well. So getting an overlook of the battlefield now, we can see the Cryptors are circling around, trying to pull away from those Empire Spearmen, actually getting tied up a lot, which is interesting. You don't normally see Empire Spearmen able to catch up things as fast as Cryptors, but they're honestly doing a good job right now. And they are finally going to pull away and try to shut down these range units that have been causing so much havoc on the Vampire Count's main line. Did a bunch of damage to the zombies and skeletons, which of course are not the most important units, but did manage to crumble a bunch of them. Empire Captain stuck into melee combat with Vlad von Carstein, not where he wants to be. You can see he's trying to pull away from that engagement, stuck in the middle of those Graveguard. And Helene the Appeaser, the vampire lady, charging in and wrecking, decapitating, eviscerating Empire Spearmen with that sword and her barding horse. Cryptors are finally going to make it in and charge into the back of these Empire handgunners, send them flying, and again, more little itty-bitty giblets for the Empire soldiers. One of them going to get slammed into the ground over and over again. Absolutely brutal stuff. And they should rout from the field and probably not come back. I don't blame them. Cryptors will make your day a very, very bad one. Seems like one of the Hellstorm Rocket Battery crew have gotten back onto their weapon and continued firing into the Graveguard. Explosions going off everywhere right now. Quite a bit of damage to these blobs of Graveguard and some friendly fire as well. Graveguard jumping around, slicing through these Empire Spearmen easily. We'll see how this progresses, but it does seem to be shifting in the Vampire Count's favor. Big charge coming in from the Empire Knights at the flank of those Graveguard with great weapons. Don't want to leave them in melee for too long here, but they are going to do quite a bit of damage off the charge. It's a long way to get over there and silence those Hellblaster or Hellstorm rocket batteries. That's going to be tough if those Cryptors aren't still alive in the back. Vlad getting ready to cast Van Hell's Dance Macabre again, buff up his troops, and hopefully silence these very annoying Empire Knights who have been here since almost the start of the battle, continuously hammering and anviling. But yeah, once Vlad wades into combat, they are going to be terrified and probably break and shatter and leave the battlefield. Both armies have almost completely disintegrated at this point. That ambush from the Empire Knights made a huge impact on the battle, tying up Vlad's elite forces so the wheat and chaff could be cut down. But where the Empire must levy and train new troops to recover from their losses, a twitch of a finger is all it's needed for the von Carsteins to replenish theirs. Vlad's sword still not slaked with the blood of enough Empire state troops. More of them are going to die in melee combat here. Lord General actually going to get a brutal blindside hit into the flank of Vlad and knock him down. Probably not the vampire you want to be pissing off, but he's actually going to stick in melee there. All credit to him. Van Hell's Dance Macabre going off again. That is going to give them speed, which is irrelevant, but buff their melee attack by 34, which will help them chew through those spearmen with ease. That armor piercing will be able to get through the shields relatively easily as well. Helene the Appeaser still circling in the back on the cliffs, and more Graveguard over on this side, engaging the Empire Swordsmen, who are now broken and probably going to shatter very soon. Friendly fire, brutal friendly fire coming in from the Hellstorm Rocket Battery, and that is not what you want to see as an Empire State Troop. Light Wizard has been very smart. Although he's covered in blood, he's decided to stick and prevent himself from going back into melee. It's not really where he excels, so probably a good plan, but I haven't seen any spells from him recently. More buffs going off from Vlad, and it looks like it is going to shift towards Vlad von Carstein's Vampire Count's army, and they will take the field once Helene the Appeaser manages to run down some of these Hellstorm Rocket Battery crews and finish the battle up. That sword is going to decapitate at least a few more of the crewmen before this is all said and done. And she was able to make a relatively big impact on the battle, slicing through those state troops with the ease of a natural-born killer. But with that said, Vlad von Carstein will raise the dead once more, replenishing his forces and move deeper into the heart of Sigmar's empire, eager to take the throne from the charlatan Franz and bring order and civility, finally, to the lands of mortals. Hope you guys enjoyed this look at the Blooddrinker quest battle for Vlad on Legendary difficulty. I'll leave the post-battle stats for you to peruse at your leisure, but I'm off for now. Enjoy the Grim in the Grave DLC and the new free content. Indie Pride, signing out.